Okay, now I've had several remarks. Oh, that's a bit of a hard line, but anyway, I've had several remarks about my videos, and there's a gentleman called Lionheart who asked me a question, and I thought I'd demonstrate it. It's about how to shoot white subjects on a white background. So I've chosen this, which is a cup. And you'll see that it's got a slightly curved side. Now, in having a curved side, of course, it means that reflections come from underneath. But anyway, that's what we're going to shoot. And I think you might be surprised how we do it, because I'm a great believer that with a still life, because that's not a product shot to me, there is no such thing as a product shot. To me, it's a still life, and every still life merits being lit well. And if you can supply your clients with great shots, they'll see the difference, I promise you. They'll see the difference between a standard pack shot, if you like, or a product shot done in a tent, or one done as it should be. And this is how it should be. A white product on a white background with no shadow. Now, I don't know why you would want no shadow, because it would just look like it's floating, but that's what I've been asked to do by Lionheart. Okay, don't forget to subscribe if you like this. Okay, now I'm going to show you now how not to do it, because it will, I think, teach us a lot. First, let me put that a bit nearer the centre. Right, now, with a product like this, white on white, when you don't want a shadow, it becomes a problem, because when you don't want a shadow, if you take the shadow away completely, it will float. It will look like it's floating, but that's what I've been asked to do, so that's what I will do. Now, one of the problems, because this has got a side that slopes, the reflector that we put in, to get reflecting all the way down to the bottom of the cup, has to almost touch the cup, or in fact touch the cup. Now, that causes, of course, big problems, because we want a white background. So now, how did we do this in the old days? Well, before we had retouching, I mean, now I can't see why you just can't cut it out, but someone's asked me to do it. Now, in the old days, what we used to do is find other techniques. We used to have to go into lateral thinking how to do things, because of course we couldn't afford retouching. Photoshop wasn't around, and we were using transparency, and it was very expensive to retouch. So we would have to find other ways of doing things, lateral thinking if you like. So that's what, I'll show you now what we used to do. It will surprise you, but I still think it's the best way of shooting a white subject on a white background without a shadow, without any retouching. A lot of people will think, well, this is comparatively easy because we just use a Perspex table, like the Perspex table from underneath. But all that does is, when it's white here, okay, we've got no shadow, but when it's white here, it reflects white to here, so you've got no nice separation. The other thing is, we have to be able to light things nicely. So it makes it very difficult with this situation. Okay, now this picture's got nothing to do with what we're going to talk about, but it gives me just a little bit of time to apologise for the next 22 seconds of video, or rather the quality of it. I must have had a drink last night. So what have we got here? Well, here's a cup floating a bit, and it's floating because it's held on, in fact it's glued on to a metal bar that goes through a white piece of paper. And that's how we used to do things, and I don't see why we can't do them like that these days, if we don't want to use retouching. Right, we've got our teacup in place, as I showed you. Now that already is a white product on a white background, without a shadow. But I'm not very happy with the way that this edge, sorry, I'm looking at my screen, that this edge is disappearing into the background. Well, the advantage of using this system is that I can get a reflector, or just putting a darker reflection down that edge. I think, oh, there it goes, you see? So I can do that. I've got absolutely control on what shadow I put in or anything. Now I think that is the proof that this is really the right way about it, of doing these things. So I just move it in and I'd get a stand and put it there. Now the other one, we can do all sorts of things. You see what you can do? It's great. I can even see, there it is, I can see my computer now. But I can do an awful lot of clever things, and that's all up to personal taste. Now you might think that this side is a little bit too dark. Well, all I do, here I've got a piece of white card, you can just see it in the image there. There it is. So if I bring that white card in, I've also got control of what I do in the way of this side. Now that's the big advantage. You see, what the important thing is, that the reflection is in fact coming from lower down. Now when it's on a table, you can't do that. It'll just reflect the table. This side's the same thing, if you can see the reflection, but it's coming from underneath. I might be able to show you that by moving the main light. Let's have a look. If I raise the main light up, I'm doing now, it's no longer coming from underneath, and you see that white reflection is stopped halfway up. I hope you can see that. Right now, yeah, as I said, we're nearly there. I just think the background needs lightening a little bit, and we can do that just by putting a reflector reflecting the main light back on. So, sorry, back on. So I can just lighten it a fraction. It doesn't have to be lightened a lot, and I can always put a light off if I want to make the background really white. Right, well here we got it now, and it was in fact my monitor that was reflecting in there, not the computer, but I've turned that round. Now if we find it's too dark, we can just move the reflector on the right hand side in and out. So that really gives you total control. That's the whole object here, we've got total control. So do what you like, you see, it's really good fun playing with these reflectors. Well, there we go. Now, this obviously isn't the final shot. This is on video, therefore it's 1000 ASA, because I'm shooting in quite low light, the video. So really, we'll play around with that, and then we'll do a shot. And I'll use a longer exposure so we get better quality. But it'll still be with the tungsten instead of the flash, but it still looks pretty good. Well, I've dropped the ISO down to 100, and it gave us about a 4-second exposure. So this is it straight out of the camera. Then, of course, we move on to a little bit of retouching, just to get rid of the card on the left-hand side and 1 or 2 faults in the cup. But that makes a very, very pleasing image at the end, and it's a white cup on a white background with no shadow. Well, I hope you enjoyed that one. You see, we did used to do some quite clever things, all lateral thinking. Now, if anyone could put a bit of lateral thinking and find out what I could use that for, I was thinking about getting golf balls out of a lake. It might be handy for that, but what else could we use it for? There must be something. Anyway, don't forget, subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, go to mccaudle.com, because, mccaudle.com, is that in English? Yes. Now, because that's all good fun as well, there's going to be lots of more stuff on there, including a shop and all sorts of things. But anyway, we're adding to that all the time. mccaudle.com. See you soon. Bye.